Today is if I get my liturgical calendar correct, this is the fourth Sunday of Advent, which isn't something we've talked about the past few weeks, but I thought it'd be good to talk about today, just review the past few weeks and also just see and my question for you all, so this could be a lot of discussion, is so the four themes of Advent are, oh gosh, I have this down, hold a second. Peace, love, hope, and joy. And I don't know what order they go in. I was Googling it, and it seems like there's more than one order, which is very annoying and confusing. But where in the past few weeks have you found peace, love, hope, and joy? And if you want to tie that into, like, some of the things we've talked about on Sunday, like Amanda and lamenting me and finding God in you and whatever else it was that I taught, if it was me, that would be nice too. So yeah, okay, back to you all. Or if you want, I can start. And where I found some sort of peace was definitely Amanda's lamenting. Like, I felt it was very cathartic for me. She was talking about laments and what do we do with laments and how do we define them. And we talked about this idea of outpouring, and part of my thought was that is catharsis, like we pour out our hurts and just that feeling. And just I've heard several people bring it up to me. So Amanda, you did a great job, Amanda. And so I think that has brought, like, Amanda's topic and her stirring that pot has brought me a lot of peace in some ways this week. So what are ways that you have all found peace and hope and joy and love in the past few weeks during Advent? I mean, Mitch, you could say you found love like Friday nights after Food for Thought when hanging out with me and David. There's that.
Yeah, I could say that.
I would say, this ties into my praise earlier, hope because of our situation we found this last week, because of opportunities that seem to be coming our way that will help us get caught up on a couple of things, and the possibility of James landing a full-time job. So those are really good things. So I'll stick with hope right now, and I'll think about the other three.
Yeah, you can pick one of the four. You don't have to do all four. That's a lot of pressure. Speaking to the general audience. Do we want to go one by one? Would that be helpful?
I've been finding a lot of joy in Wednesday night Bible study. I really have appreciated people's insights and input into the text. And it's always interesting because I come home from work and I'm dead tired and I don't really want to do it. But every time I do it, I feel energized afterwards and just really thankful that we had people show up and great discussion. And I just have really appreciated everybody's take on the text on Wednesdays. So anyway, that's not an advertisement for the Wednesday night Bible study, by the way, but everybody's invited if you want to come. So
well, I had this situation, it kind of fits in the hope category, but also like the idea of like finding the divine in yourself. And I had done something that was like pretty small scale. I couldn't really imagine not doing it or doing things differently. But it was like really appreciated by the person that I had done it for. And it like had this huge response in this like online community. And it like kind of caught me off guard because it was such like a small, simple, like I said, like I couldn't imagine not doing it. I didn't really give it a lot of thought. And I just found myself thinking like, oh, I wonder if that's like the divine in me, like when those moments when it's like, well, this is the only thing that made sense to do. And I wasn't like overthinking it or like trying to prove anything. And I don't know, it just kind of led me to think about that conversation as well.
I've never been like, oh, Christmas is so amazing or anything, but I really do enjoy, I love finding presents and doing all that. That's my favorite part. And so, I mean, that's always a bit joyous with Christmas and everything, but this year in particular, Catherine, my oldest stepdaughter, and I have done a lot of bonding, just talking about finding presents and sharing a mutual excitement for Christmas and making plans and everything. And so I've had a lot of joy being able to connect with her, and I don't want to say make memories because I don't know that we're going to go, oh, remember that time we sat at the table and just talked about, what we're going to buy for your dad or whatever. But just those moments of sharing something, sharing an enthusiasm, sharing a love of something. So that's just brought me a lot of joy. It's been a lot of fun over the last few weeks to share that with her.
The piece was awesome. And love really, I got to hang out with my mom and stepdad, my sister, and Ms., my best friend, on Friday night. And just that communal energy on here was it was special, something I haven't experienced in a long while. And we watched a movie. It was just on in the background. We ordered pizza and just talked and made jokes and stuff, and it was just that love has been missing for me for a while, like that camaraderie, and it was really cool that you guys let me use the this page. I just figured out this morning how to log out from it. So that was fun. That's it. The end.
Well, thank you all very much for sharing. Is there anyone else who wants to share where they found hope, love, peace, and joy in the past few weeks? I want to make sure everyone's heard if they have something to say. Okay.
Me?
Tana,
Yes.
I have a scarf for you, by the way.
Oh my goodness. I need to take top priority. Yeah. I was just thinking this past week about how grateful I am that I actually like the people that I'm quarantined with. It's I realize like there's a lot of all right, I'll turn my video on temporarily. Like I know that there are some people who have like problems with their teenagers, they have contentious relationships with their kids, and or maybe even, marriage wise. And I just feel very grateful that there's just so much love and joy in our household. And so I'm just like keenly aware of that recently. And it brings me joy because my son like actively wants to spend time with me. It's not like, oh, I have to force the teenager to do something, you know what I mean? So like that's just something I've been thinking about. And then on like a much more shallow practical level, I get really, really stressed out by clutter and disorder and things like that. And yesterday I was able to like clean up and organize a bunch of stuff, and then also put light up all of the decorations, and that brought me a lot of peace, because it was like things were orderly. And then also I love lights. And so that was joyful and peaceful. I think that's all.
So Tana, sorry, I know we all say this, but I mean, Malcolm is a very special child. Like, he's the child everyone dreams of having. So, and Don says that looking out your window and looking at the zoo lights should bring you joy, which he's pretty much right. You get to see that tree, right?
Those
You get to think about that time when about that time when you went to New York and you saw the tree at Rockefeller and you thought,
and I was so disappointed.
Yes, and you
It
got
was
to,
so it was so inferior to the Toledo Zoo's tree. It was so disappointing.
and you got to like relive that moment and live out the scene in Elf or something.
Yes.
I feel weird
Yeah,
for
actually, I
remembering.
do. That does bring me a lot of joy every night. Like, I pull up the shades on that side of the house that I can see the lights from, and so then just every time I walk by a window, I'm like, oh, there's the lights. Oh, there's the lights. So yes, it's very nice.
Anybody else feel like David's photo hold spot for him is him like doing a casual flex?
There you go, Wade. Everybody do the David. Oh, Don, you're wearing your ugly Christmas sweater. Oh, there you go, Mitch. That looks like an angry David, though. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you got to get the. Dang, Mitch got guns.
Wow. Look
Well,
at the definition.
I'm sure Don finds that very comforting. Hey, Don, you're in an ugly sweater. Mitch, I like your guns.
Hey, honesty is important in our household.
Yeah, he admires other people all the time, so we're good.
Halle Berry.
Beyond Halle Berry.
Okay, so
Yeah,
thank you
let's
all for
move on.
Upside
sharing.
down.
So I'm going to move on to my second topic this week. And feel free to bring up hope and love and peace and joy in it. I got a question for you all. Who knows what calendar day, like what day of the year is it tomorrow? It's one of my favorite days of the year. It's probably my favorite day.
The winter solstice, the longest day of the year, longest night.
Yes.
I thought that was
Yes.
your least favorite day of the year.
Summer solstice is one of my least favorite.
Well, there is one good thing about the winter solstice, though, is that from now on, the days are getting longer.
That's true.
Yes. I have more sunlight tomorrow than I do today, and more sunlight the day after. So tomorrow's winter solstice. I was thinking the other day, it's kind of weird because the solstice depends where you are on the globe. And so thinking about winter solstice, and so Hanukkah just ended this past week. We got Christmas coming up, and something I was thinking about with all the different holidays is how light is very important in all of them, right? So Hanukkah, you light the lights. It's about remembering. When we think about Christmas, a lot of times, like I think of candles in the window. I think of, a Yule log, like we put Christmas lights up. Winter solstice, again, it's about light and the sun. And just thinking about some of our topics the past few weeks, where are places that we have found light? And actually, Wade, I'm so sorry. I meant to contact you so you could wear your shirt that says I'm a prick. So you could be thematic for the day. So sorry, everyone, to let you down on that.
I think Don still has that. I think he
Well,
borrowed
then
it.
Don should be wearing it because he knew I was going to do this. I told him about that. We were going to talk about being pricks. So
Don's the prick today. Is that it?
Well, both of us, but
So my question is twofold. So where have you found pricks of light in the past few weeks? And where have you felt that you have been a prick of light in the past few weeks?
So for my birthday, Shannon invited a lot of my friends and family to join me virtually for dinner on Zoom. And so first of all, just him doing that, and of course all of my friends that were able to show up, but especially my dad, who was there, and he sent me a birthday card, but just the fact that he has so much joy in me finding joy and finding love. And so him just coming and hanging out with my friends and I think he just sees the community around me, and I think feels like just his happiness for me, that I have a community. So there you go, Don. So that's one place that I found a light, both in all of my friends and my husband, and then in my dad.
So Wade, what I hear is that we're all a bunch of pricks for you. Is that, to you, is that what you're saying? Was that not as funny as I had hoped? No one's laughing. Okay. Next. So who else has found
My mic was off. I was laughing.
Oh!
Well, I feel like you all were just I'm sure you all were just pricks of light in my life in that moment and not just regular pricks. Dang it. Anyway, so who has another story? Who else wants to share, or does anyone else have stories about how light has been important to them? If not, well, actually I will share, since we'll take so this has been one of my first years of really celebrating Hanukkah in a long time. Like my housemate is Jewish, so we lit the candles together almost every evening, and it was just and Hanukkah is probably one of the holidays I really like, and to me it just feels very, I don't want to say theologically or religiously significant, but sort of in that vein. Are you talking to me? What am I saying wrong, Craig? Hanukkah. Hanukkah.
It's pronounced Chinooka now.
I knew you were gonna say that. You spin the Drayden.
So Chanukah, Hanukkah Chanukah. Are we all happy now? And while the first night was super stressful because Lindsay's like going a little crazy and didn't time well and trying to do all these latkes, and Rowan, the 3-year-old, is like, lights, it's the first time Hanukkah presents, doing the 3-year-old kind of thing. I don't know, it's been nice to take a moment and pause every day, and this is where I was, like, something, I don't know if it's theologically or religiously or some, godly, but for Hanukkah, you could say the blessing as you light the lights, and you go, blessed are you, Lord of the universe, who sanctifies us by your commands, who has commanded us to light the Hanukkah light. And that, I think you say a similar blessing for Shabbat candles, but I'm not positive. Sarah would probably know. And just for me, that's so in my relationship with God, that's so powerful and affirming. And I guess like, it's something that just gives me hope and joy and peace and love, and is like this light that I yearn towards in so many ways because I did my time with did a stint with conservative evangelicals, and systematic theology is pretty important, and the idea of like this very specific definition of what it means to be sanctified. And it always seems very nebulous to me. And it's like, okay, and Jesus sanctifies me somehow. And to do Hanukkah and to know that God says that we are sanctified by God's commands, and know that I am in that moment being sanctified by bringing light into the world through, and by remembering the past and remembering God's faithfulness. There's something very powerful to me. So yeah, so again, like there's, and time again I mentioned, so yes, that's my story about light and just yeah, for the season, or Chanukah, was that it? Yeah. So uh so yeah, so that's my story with hope and peace and love and joy and light for the season. So how have you all been finding light and whatnot?
I'm gonna
For me,
show
the-
you one of the pricks that I've been enjoying.
For me, the light's just been coming to me in like floodlights, kind of. With, I mean, you guys all checking in on me and stuff, and especially when I was in the hospital and all the people that kept. And I was talking about it the other night. That was really cool. Even when I didn't want it, everyone was still like forcing their way into being there for me, and that was really cool. Like I said earlier, that doesn't really happen that much for me.
I've been trying to over tip every service professional. So I like to think that maybe those are some tiny little pricks of light for people. But I would also sidebar if anybody has any suggestions on how to be the light for a lot of our essential workers, and especially medical workers as they're facing the surges and stuff. I would love to hear those, because I know a lot of them feel like they're flailing around in darkness. So, Lee, you're muted.
Every time Tom comes on, I have this moment of like deep confusion and like sort of almost dislocation. I'm like, Silas, and it's like, guess what, Lee? It's not Silas, it's Tom. And so I just wanted to share that as a welcome to Tom. That's not Silas. Okay. Thanks, Tom, not Silas. I think I only have that deep confusion because I keep expecting Silas, who's says or would come in person, to be the person named Silas. But okay. So thank you for your stories. I'm gonna talk a little bit more. So I mentioned that tomorrow is winter solstice and our days get longer and there's more light, and that so in this time of year, there's like as I was saying, there's a lot of holidays that seem to revolve around light or include like Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, solstice. Like you look at, and a lot of the Christmas traditions come from Yuletide and pagan things that where light was very important. And So my question is, what significance and meaning does light have to you in this season?
One of my favorite practices during this season is to sit in our living room with the lights off, regular lights off when it's dark, and just look at the Christmas tree. There's just something about staring at my lit and decorated Christmas tree that reminds me, no matter what is happening, of how blessed I am. I have an amazing family. I have a nice home. I have plenty to eat, as you can all tell. And I've got what I need, really. I mean, there's always fears and things like that and uncertainty, but it is, I've just always have this profound appreciation, just sitting there looking at it and thinking about all the wonderful things in my life. And it just, there's something about that particular thing that just seems to move me more than other times, I guess. I don't know, but it is that lit Christmas tree that it does it for me.
I feel the same, and I love to do the same thing, Amanda. I know that, I talk about the Christmas lights and everything, like bringing me joy, but they also symbolize hope for me. And in Northwest Ohio, it gets dark and gray for several months, and it's so cold out, so you're not as outside as much and getting fresh air and enjoying nature or whatnot. And so it's always like so sad to me when like the zoo lights go off for the last time, and they take down the lights downtown, or different houses take their lights down or whatever. And and Don knows this well, since I didn't take down the Christmas tree last year until July. But it's like, I don't know, it's just like there's that it's going to be the dark, like a darker time of year, and gray and everything. And so just looking at those lights just gives me some hope to sustain till the next season.
This year, I decided that I was going to be kind to my house plants. So I built a big plant stand, and I got this really high intensity grow light that I put on it. And I have that on a 12-hour cycle. And that light is just really intense. And my house plants are blooming in the middle of the winter time. It's life-changing for me in terms of just mood, just having that high intensity light. My plants are blooming. I'm really glad I took that step this year and was kind to my house plants for a change. They didn't have to wait until summer to be moved outside to start leafing out again. And I don't have dead leaves all over the house like I normally do. So it's just been life-giving in so many ways, to not only me, but to my plants. Just having that light that is so missing, as you guys have all mentioned, in Northwest Ohio this time of year. So I've been really happy with that, really thankful that I took that step this year.
That's really cool.
Mitch, a lot of people are questioning your motives.
Yeah, on Friday, Mitch was telling me how he used to smoke a lot of pot. So I wasn't trying to be subtle, Craig.
I just want to understand what's going on, that Lee has been in every single room and every single corner of the house that she's teaching from.
I might have had a very good time with a friend last night and might still be here hoping for some pancakes. I might have like helped put a bed together. So, you know, those things.
Figured, since I saw Kinsey in the background behind you.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
word, not the person.
I could find the person, but I don't know if we all want that. Yeah, so okay. Talked a lot about light and hope and stuff. So, and symbolism. Okay, so any other thoughts about light that we all have? I thought this would, I guess when I was writing all this down and planning it, I thought it would be a lot more interesting, where like you all would be like, oh, this is great, let me go full force and just carry it. I say that, but I remember last week it was very insightful to not be teaching, because Amanda would ask us these questions and I'm like, oh, let me pause and really deeply think about this. And it's like, and it was very interesting to be on the other end again. And I was like, oh, is this like this weird vulnerability? Is this what everyone feels every time I ask questions and like try and drag them into conversation? And like, I was like, oh man, I was like, I forgot what it feels like to be on the other side. So, yeah, so I guess take your time, and sorry, not sorry if I put you all on the spot. I guess it's just part of Sunday.
I was gonna let you drown right there, like just let you just totally drown. But I did have a thing about the lights. I haven't taken my Christmas lights down in like 3 or 4 years. Like, I don't know if you can see, they're up, like they're up all the way around my living room, and I got them outside too. I love the Christmas lights. They're just festive all year round. And recently they've died. Like, only one of the strands of lights works now. The ones outside still work. The ones in the house really don't. And Don knows this. He's talked to me like at night, and my like feed just goes completely dark, and I just sit in it. Like Amanda said, she just likes to sit in the dark and, you know, with the lights and all that. And it's like one of my favorite things to do. And I do it kind of year round whenever I get like in that kind of mood. And the fact that only one of the strands works means I got to put up new lights. And I thought about that the other night because 2 of the strands worked until like a couple nights ago, and now only 1 works. And it really, like, it was kind of symbolic. Like, I got to get new lights. I don't know, that just, it hit me in a way. I'm like, the way everything's been going lately, I'm like thinking that makes sense. I got to get new lights, and now I can actually move around and, you know, physically, and I can put up new lights. So that's pretty cool.
Part of what I'm hearing is that people need to give you some new lights. Like, I mean, it's convenient this is all breaking around Christmas. Like, what's more apropos to ask for Christmas than Christmas lights, you know? So
Well,
just shout out to the
I don't
audience.
even, listen, I don't think we should give Craig lights. I think we should each bring him a strand of lights that is ours and remains ours, but are in his house. So when the lights are on, he knows that that is his set of lights of people around him that love him, giving him a light hug.
Okay, Don, you can just, you know, one up me and, you know, make that your contribution for the day.
You
That's
set a low
fine.
bar, Lee. It's fine.
I'm just gonna go back on mute.
It's like everyone turns their cameras off. It's like, we don't want to be here for this. Um, and Don says that in a few weeks, Tom can give him 2,000, 20,000 hugs. Yeah, I don't know. I think Tom really likes to keep his hugs to himself, or likes to have lots of hugs for everyone to see. But yes, okay. And you know what, Don? Not all of us have Christmas lights to like give. So some of us like don't even have light ourselves, you know? Some people don't have Christmas lights, Don. Anyhow, but either I think both me and Don have perfectly fine suggestions. So yes, if you would like to gift Christmas lights to Craig, you know, I guess, am I allowed to endorse that idea? It's not endorsing a company, so yeah. Ooh, you know what we could all do? And now that Don mentioned Tom's house, we could all go and drive by at Tom's house at the same time. Tom, it snowed. Did you get a picture of your lights with the snow to submit to your contest? Or is it like too late to do that? I don't think he's paying attention to me. Ah, there he is. Still muted.
There we go. I did get it done. Sorry, I'm currently cutting boards while I'm churching. So I did get it in. So we'll see if I win anything.
Well, I'll try and make a point of coming out to your house to see all your 20,000 Christmas lights. Like, so, but it struck me that we have a congregation that seems to really enjoy Christmas lights. Craig's like, I hang them up all year. And I know that Tana kind of keeps hers up until like, you know, when her birthday, like, or later, you know? And I'm surprised we don't do like a Christmas in July sort of thing, so you can all just put up more lights. Yeah. And I also just like that I've seen like the theme, like several of us have been like, we just like to sit and look at the lights. We just like to look at Christmas trees, and I don't like, I mean, like, I don't find that weird. Like, I feel like that's a pretty normal thing for anyone. And part of me is always very hearing you say that, like, resonates and brings up this point. Like, I just like, what is it about lights that we've made these specific lights and that we feel this urge and we listen to it and act on it to just pause and take time out of our day just to bask in light and just to appreciate that beauty. And it's like, what is it about this season? Like, why don't we do that? And maybe we just don't, I mean, maybe I just don't notice it, but like, why don't we do that, you know, during the summer and just bask in the sunlight, or, you know, just bask in beauty some other time?
You know, I think I'd like to just say that in so many ways, this coming back from my sabbatical early is because of all the things that people kind of were sharing today about the need of other people and light in their life and being a light and hope and peace. And I really needed that. And in so many ways, our community represents that to me. And so I couldn't imagine having a Christmas without all of those entities, those 4 Advent things. And whether we specifically talk about Advent or go through the weeks or do liturgy or what have you, I just want you to know that, you know, this community is all those things to me. And so in many ways, you know, dust is my Advent. And so I just want to thank you all for that. I also want to thank Blitz for always getting in the shot, at least at some point in the service.
Okay, so I mean, while I look forward to winter solstice, something I find very sad, almost upsetting about Christmas, and to a degree Hanukkah as well. Is like, I feel like there's all this build up to Christmas, right? Like people like, we fight about whether or not you can play Christmas music in November, like how early is too early for Christmas music. Um and we won't get into that here to, keep the peace. And a lot of times I feel like, then December 25th comes, we do Christmas, and then it's like December 26th, people are like, okay, we're done with Christmas. We're taking down the lights, no more music. We're boxing it all up. And that, like, I always find that very like sad. And because I'm like, there's all this buildup, like, why can't we just marinate in Christmas for a few days? Like, why can't we then use that time um to just reflect on Christmas? Like, why do we have to now move to the same thing? So part of me really likes that Tom was like, I just want my Christmas tree out for longer to just dwell on the beauty, and we just stretch that out. And so looking past Christmas, what are ways that you all want to see the ideas of the season, light and joy, peace, hope, love? I think I got all of them. Like, how do you want to see those extended and brought into the time after Christmas and the time after the celebrations are done?
I know last year when we talked about, be a prick in 2020, I had no idea how literally all of the world was going to take that. They must not have heard the whole sermon. It was be a prick of light. So I'm hoping that, in 2021 that the perseverance that we all, went through to survive 2020, in many ways, culturally, socially, but also individually, that we take those lessons, and that, Lee, it's kind of like what you were saying, like last week, sitting and being on the opposite side again reminded you of kind of that process. And I think, a lot of us experienced a rough 2020, and I hope that we don't, because a new political team is coming in, or because it's a fresh new year, or whatever it might be, or that the vaccine is coming out, that we forget. I hope we don't forget what 2020 was, and we have more compassion and empathy for people who are stuck or struggling or being harmed or being neglected, and that that we're active instead of just being proactive and reactive, or proactive instead of being reactive.
That was like the perfect introduction to what I was going to say, Don. So thank you. I was thinking back to a few years ago when our focus around this time was peace is not passive. And that's just something I've been thinking a lot about. I mean, especially given my job, like, the people at work are always very active. And it's just a constant reminder to me to, like, just not just sit back and complain about what's wrong with the world, but to actually do something about it. And so that's kind of something I've been thinking about, focusing beyond this season is, if I want people to experience peace and joy and hope and love, and I want the world to head more that way, then what can I do actively to promote that?
Thank you, Tana. That was good. I feel like I should use a better word, but yes, something that's been on my mind going into 2021 has been, how can I, you all still see me? Oh, there we go. Sorry, my phone just kind of blitzed. Going into 2021, like, yeah, how do I want to
focus on other people? How do I want focus on being the light? And I guess to, go with some dustiness, like, like how can I be a bigger prick, right? Like how can we be more than a prick? Like how can we be just not just a prick of light, but a I don't know, whatever the next step up is.
Enormous prick.
Taunus is ablaze. That I feel like we skipped a few levels there. You know, but yeah, and that has been something I thought about, like as we like I mean, we might get the coronavirus vaccine, but we still have a lot of a dollop of light. Thank you, Don. It's like a dollop of daisy sour cream, but different. I guess that in some ways that sour cream is light, in a different use of the word. Tana says that Dawn doesn't care as much as she does. We're just working our way up to Blaze, Tana. We'll be a Blaze in like 2022. So we'll be a dollop of light for now. And so what was I saying? Even if we get the vaccine, even there's still gonna be so much fallout and repercussions from COVID. There's still a lot of harm from the economy to local business, to people who have, oh my gosh, you all, like, stop it with the chat. And you know what, Don, I think you're just being problematic in the chat.
That was Wade.
Very distracting. Oh, okay, well, never mind then, that's acceptable. So we will try to be more blazing in 2021. And so the fallout from COVID, for the economy, for people who haven't been working, for what it's meant for, and for what it's meant also for healthcare, like people like are still suffering, and we might, from long COVID and like that long recovery and side effects of it. And we are still learning about some of those side effects, and like what is this going to look like for people's health in the coming years. And just so while this event might be in some ways, we might be over the on the far side and looking towards the future, it's also that how do we not forget the lessons it's taught us, and how do we still remember that this is going to be deeply impactful for people in from mostly negative ways, and how do we be that dollop of light and become a blaze going forward?
I think that it's really one of the things that's really tough right now is, everybody's feeling, pandemic, stress, depression, anxiety, all that stuff. And we all need light. And I think we all want to be light, but with so many people just flailing around in the darkness right now, it's really hard to, pull that out. So it's like, how do you struggle and find the light when you're just so enveloped in darkness? And I'm thinking especially of people who are in like really severe depression, like, how do you find that light in the midst of that?
I think you hope that the light finds you. And I think that's where community comes in. I think Craig somewhat touched on it when he said he was in the hospital, and the light kept showing up whether he wanted it or not. And I know for me, when I'm in the midst of depression and anxiety, even if I turn down 50 things in a row, the fact that I was asked 50 times is the light that I needed to survive that journey. And that's the hardest part to communicate to people that don't struggle with depression or anxiety, is that even if I'm turning down getting together, or even if I'm silent and not responding to text messages or whatever, that the text message that reaches out and just checks on me, or the whatever it might be, is actually a lot of times the very light I need to see my way out of the valley of darkness.
And if I could add on to that, what I was going to say, Tana pretty much nailed what I was going to say. But like, I'm starting therapy for the first time ever in next month. And it's going to be online first because, of course. And one of my concerns for 2021 is whenever I've been in a depression, the thing that helps me most is helping other people. And it's hard to help other people right now in my position. So how can I help other people in 2021? So I'm going to deal with a lot of that in the therapy, and hopefully by talking to some of you guys, because I mean, I want to help. I finally want to help myself, but I also want to help other people. I want to, I guess, be the prick in 2021 or whatever you guys made up, on top of helping myself. So if you're dealing with the anxiety and depression and stuff, helping other people sometimes seems like you don't have the capacity to do it. But I think challenging myself to do it is going to pull me higher out of the depression, if that makes any sense.
Completely.
Are there any other thoughts people would like to share as we wrap up? Thoughts about Advent, about peace, hope, joy, love, light?
I think I know this is a pattern I get stuck in, so I'm just going to throw out there that I'm guessing I'm not the only one. This feeling like in order to really be helping someone or doing some good or whatever, it has to be like big in some way, and Craig, I feel what you're saying, because we've been in that position before where we're like, well, we want to help, but there's nothing we can do, and that feels so frustrating. And I just wanted to share that, like, there are so many times I've been having a really bad day, and then I'll just get like a text message from someone that's just like a goofy GIF or GIF, whichever way you want to pronounce it, or it's just like, hey, I was just thinking about you today. I want to let you know that I love you, and it's just amazing to me how just even like that, just like a small message just really brightens my day. So that's something I'm trying to keep in mind too, because I'm like you, Craig, like I want to like go out and save the world, I want to go pay someone's bills or give them medical attention or something. I don't know. But I'm trying to think of like, are there even just smaller things that I can do to bring a little light into someone's life?
Hey Lee, if you are about to wrap up, I think I'd like to share the video. We don't need to stop recording to do this, but share the video announcement that I have from a dear friend of mine in New York City.
Okay, let's do it. Can
Right.
you share your screen?
I should be able to, but we'll see.
Hello and greetings, Thus Church.
Can you hear it?
So grateful to be able to share a few seconds,
Yes.
a couple of minutes on our holiday offering through Metro Hope Covenant Church. But before I do that, I just want to give a shout out to my brother Don Cheever, who, has been such a wonderful support, such a wonderful friend, colleague as pastors, and we've really helped each other through some hard times. So I realize that connections like that don't come very often. So just to remind you of how blessed you all are in having Don as your leader. And just a little bit about me. I pastored our church, co-founded our church about 14 years ago. We're a small, vibrant, black and brown space that is also multi-racial and multicultural. We're in East Harlem here, which is in northern Manhattan, and it's in the barrio, which means that it's socioeconomically impacted because of gentrification and because of other factors as well, low-performing schools in some cases. And our church is at the intersection of all of this and all of these changes. And we've had just a wonderful opportunity to become a part of the ecosystem of our community, which basically means that we're part of the root system here. We're connected to small businesses. We mobilize other churches to support small indigenously owned operations here. We are also connected in the work of reentry, working with folks that are coming back from prison and providing mentoring as a collaboration with other churches. Specifically, we're raising a holiday offering this year in the amount of about close to $30,000. And we're really excited about this one item where there are 5 entrepreneurs of color within our church who are starting things from house churches, theater workshops in support of Black women. So one of our people is a classically trained theater person. Another organization called Pathfinders that works to advocate against violence and human sex trafficking. And she's traveling back and forth between Nigeria and the United States, which is also a big port of entry for a lot of the folks that are trafficked in. So our church in many ways is serving as a doula in helping them to birth forth these new expressions of ministry. We get the privilege, the honor of being in God's maternity ward when these ministries go forth for the flourishing of the world. We've also given out over $20,000 in benevolence this year. And so we're raising a couple of $1,000s for continued benevolence to help people with their rent, especially since they've been economically impacted by COVID. And that's been also a thing that we've been able to do, pay for credit card bills or groceries as well. And then, of course, just for our general operating budget, we just want to finish well, finish this year in a way that we can also start off with a momentum for the new year. So your generous contribution, don't look at it so much as a donation, but as part of our worship. Therefore, it is a sacrifice. Give in faith and give in good cheer what God has placed in your heart to give. And for me, it's about giving from a place of partnership, covenant, right? We invite our friends, our new friends, into doing things that we know will work for the mending of the world. So this is a sacred privilege for me to be able to even do this with you and to share it. And it's a sacred privilege for all of us to participate in this beautiful enterprise of the kingdom. So I'm grateful for you all, Dust. Here's so many great things about you. I'm grateful for Don, and I'm just grateful for the possibility of a burgeoning partnership with us all. Peace and blessings to you. Have a great one. Have a happy holiday, and also a prosperous and healthy new year. Peace, my family.
All right, that's a dear friend of mine in New York, and him and I were talking because I was helping him with they're going to buy a meeting owl, and they're going to do basically what we did at Collingwood. And so we were talking, and he was just telling me about all the suffering that's been going on in the neighborhoods around them, of people losing their housing, losing their jobs. COVID has really struck. I mean, New York's a really expensive place to live to begin with, but then, as he said, they live on they're on the intersection of that socioeconomic divide. And we were just talking, and he was saying like he would love for us to have continued partnership, and that was over the way that just we do church with discussion, dialogical and stuff. And I said, if we do create more of a partnership with that, I want it to be more than just we share a common format for Sunday mornings. And so I asked him what we could do to care for his community. And he's like, well, it's funny you asked, we're getting ready to do this. So I want you to know that video, he did it right after him and I talked, and it came out of me asking him how we could care for his community. He didn't contact me out of the blue with a sales pitch. This came out of our friendship. So I would love for our church, I know we have an elders meeting tonight. I would love for our church to consider a monthly contribution. We're saving money from not paying rent at Collingwood right now. And we have a benevolence offering that we do use to care for the people within our own community and the people around us. I would love for us to consider, and I'd like each of you to consider if you would have means to give a little bit extra, even if it's just on occasion, that we can send them regularly some money to help the people in their neighborhood that are really struggling to make it. And this is a way for Dust to be a light, and not just in Toledo, but in another place as well that we wouldn't normally have access or reach to. So just something I want you all to consider. He sent me a document about it as well, and I'll post that for you in the chat messenger, and possibly put a link or include it in the email that goes out. So thank you for letting me steal some of your time to share that.
Yeah, I think that wraps us up well. We can be a dollop of light somewhere else. So I'm done, and want to close up the recording. I guess we can move on to prayer requests.